Hi, Lovinaka, it's your girl Adi again. So I wanted to take this time to just share about a short testimony of what the cross and God means for my life and my journey. Thanking one of our family's close friend Lolly for requesting this video. I hope this will be like a beacon of inspiration to all our Itoke sisters out there. So basically, God has been like my rock, my salvation, and my refuge in all weathers of my entire life. And he's my go-to counselor. He's the shoulder that I lean on when I go through so many trials in life. And trust me, the trial that we go through this life, it's like one after the other. But I believe that God has chosen us to be strong and God-fearing women and men in His kingdom. And I believe that in our community, in our society, in the Itoke society, we tend to find it less comfortable to share about our experiences, for us to grow from each other, for us to just learn from our flaws and draw strength from each other. So God has been an epitome of love for me. Why? Because I always look back at how He sacrificed His one and only begotten Son to die on the cross for our sins, and that epitome of love has surrounded everything that I think about in life, everything that I endure, back to my humble beginnings. And when I think about that sacrifice and that epitome of love, it's what keeps me together. So I hope that you'll never forget what Christ has been in your life and the love that He has for you and me. And yeah, keep doing what you do and keep thriving in everything that you do. Thanks, bye.
Hey, Bolovinaka everybody. Naithango su kolibuso. Angonelanga ni lakemba na mukamadhuata wasi lomeviti somo ngao. I thank God for this time. I just want to make a big shout out to Lolly for giving me this opportunity to share with you all about what she had asked for me to share on. And I believe that it's a good topic to begin with and to talk about. For me, I'm going to be very realistic in my sharing. I hope that it blesses someone today as you watch through this video. I just want to make it clear, I'm not a perfect Christian, but someone who's striving, and I just continue to thank God for His love and for His faithfulness, and I acknowledge that if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be here today. And that is who God is, and He's just so real. Yeah? Lolly asked for me to share about what the cross means to me, and I know we all have our own thoughts about what the cross means to each one of us, and for me it means something very deep, and I just want to share with you all what it means to me. Let me begin with this Bible verse from 1 Corinthians 1:18. It says, "For the message of the cross is foolishness to those who do not believe, but for us who believes, it is the power of God." I am a living testimony to the power of the cross. This was, I believe, 3 years back. I was going through a rough patch in my life. I will be very honest, I've been through so many tough times in my life. I mean, who doesn't, right? And as a young woman, going through anything that probably a young woman would be going through as well. So I was going through this particular thing where I felt that everyone was so distant. My family, my friends. I even forgot that about God. I just felt, I was just so consumed with all the hate, the pain, and the anger that I completely forgot about God. And but the amazing thing is, God is so full of love that even when we are unfaithful, even when we turn our backs, He's always faithful and He's always loving. But at that time when I was going through this thing, it just felt like everybody was just so distant. I believe it was just because I allowed the situation to dictate me and consume me. And I just want to encourage someone today, never let any situation that you go through consume and dictate things for you. Because when you do, you'll just find that you're just down there. And allow God to come in and help you, just to lift you up. Allow His love to consume you. I was going through this particular thing and everybody felt so distant. I mean, when I think about it today, It gets to me every time. So, and for you people who know me personally, who my friends and family would know that I have a cross on my left wrist. And I didn't just wake up one morning and decided, you know what, I'm gonna go and get a tattoo of the cross on my left wrist. No, it never happened that way. This tattoo is here for a reason. I've never shared this before, and I believe that when Lolly reached out, I think it's the time for me to talk about it. And so when I was going through this season of my life, I was very down. I was so hurt. I was frustrated with life. It felt like I was giving up on everything and everyone, and I just felt like I was never going to get out of it. But I didn't realize that God was allowing me to go through that season for a reason. And then I would, usually cry myself off to sleep. So on this one time when I slept and I dreamt of myself, and I believe it was God all over. So I saw myself in the dream. I was crying. I was naked. And I was lying down on the floor. And it felt like I was lying down on the roadside. And everyone was just walking past. Everyone was just walking by. No one saw me. No one heard me. I was crying out for help. I was desperate. I was lost. I was lonely. You name it, that was me. I saw it all in my dream. I was crying. I was naked. Imagine I was naked and people were walking right past me, gazing me. And I was like, okay, it got me more frustrated because no one was paying attention. And then I saw this white bed sheet sort of thing that just flew from the heavens. And when it flew right over me and it covered my nakedness. It covered my nakedness, and I looked down and I kept on weeping and I was crying. When that white sheet came over me, I felt a big peace in my heart. And then I looked up, and when I looked up, I saw a cross right in front of me. That cross felt so real, like it was right there. And then I heard the voice of God tell me, I am always with you. And I cried and I followed the cross, but the more I kept going towards the cross kept going away in a distance. And I just woke up. And when I woke up, I sort of forgot that I woke up or something. I was sleepwalking in the house and I was looking everywhere for the cross. My sister would be a witness to this. I was looking everywhere for the cross, and I tripped on something in the kitchen. That's when I realized, oh my gosh, I've been sleepwalking and it was just a dream. And that's when I decided, same day I went and got this tattoo. It's a reminder for me of God's constant love, that He is always with me no matter what I go through. And you know what? That cross going further away from me is like God telling me, you need to keep seeking me. So He kept on going, and I kept on wanting. I was looking and I was seeking. And when I woke up, I was even looking, And that reminds me of the Bible verse in Jeremiah 29:13. You will seek me and find me, but if you seek me with all of your heart. That verse is always true for me. It just got me to a point where I searched for God even more. So if you ask me today, what does the cross mean to me? To me, the cross means God the divine intervening into my affair. So when I look at the cross symbol, it's like God the divine intervening into human affairs. I don't know what the cross means to you today, but I just want to remind you that whatever the situation you're going through, whatever the difficulties, whatever the heartache, whatever the hurt, whatever the anger, the frustrations, broken heart, I can assure you today, the power of the cross can take care of that all. If only you search, if only you seek after God, He will make Himself known to you. He will manifest who He is, His love, and the power of what His cross can do for you. If I can do it, I don't see how you can do it. If God can do it for me, I know God can very well do it for you. So yeah, that's my little testimony and what the cross means to me. And I hope that for you people who know me personally, my friends and families, thinking, Why does she have a cross on her wrist? Like everybody's having that. It's a norm. Yes, it is probably a norm, but does it even mean anything to you? So now today, when I look at it, it reminds me of who my God is. He's divine, He's everlasting, He's omnipresent, He's omnipotent, and He can intervene into my situations, into my affairs, if I let Him, if I seek Him, if I search for Him with all of my heart. I hope it blesses some of you tonight or today, wherever you're tuning in from, whatever part of the world. I hope that my message and my testimony will bless you. Till next time, I'm Sue. You can always contact me on my Facebook account or on my Instagram. But otherwise, God bless all of you. We're not God.
You give the healing and grace sound. Hearts always hunger for. Oh, hearts always hunger for.
Hi guys, just as my sisters were sharing, I'm also going to share about what the cross means to me. For me, the cross means so many things. It means hope. It symbolizes salvation and freedom. But one thing that I'm going to talk about today is something that had really changed my view on what love is. John 3:16 tells me, for God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whoever believes in Him should not perish but have everlasting life. God had to take me into a season in my life where I have had to learn what unconditional love meant. For those of you that know me and know my past, know that I was in a previous marriage. So 4 years ago, my husband of 5 years decided that he was going to leave me. He did not want to be married to me anymore. He wanted to be with another woman. This really shook up my world, because when I met my husband, we were both in the ministry. We were both serving in our individual ministries. So when I met my husband, he knew God, he knew the Lord. So when I married him, I did not see myself one day that I was going to be divorced, because I knew that the same love that he showed God was the same kind of love that he was going to reciprocate to me. So I grew up in a family that had mom and dad, that had grandma and grandpa. So for me, when I got married, I had always promised myself that I was never going to be a statistic of divorce. I did not want to be divorced. So when this happened to me, it really shook up my world. I felt like my world was crumbling around me, and I could not, for the life of me, hang on to any kind of love that was coming my way. I felt like I was alone in my journey, even though I had my parents, I had mom and dad there, I had family support, I had friends support. But the love that they were giving to me was a love that I felt I could not hold on to, because the love that mattered to me was the love of my husband, and he did not love me anymore. So when I separated from when my husband separated from me, we were still living in my parents' house. So I had moved out when this happened, because everything around me at home reminded me of my husband. So when I left home and I rented out, I still went to church. I was trying to cling on to whatever I could that could bring back my husband home. So when we separated and I had moved out, he would come home and mentally and emotionally abuse me, made me feel like I was less than, made me feel like I wasn't worth it. What he'd do is he'd bring out all the things that this other woman had bought for him and displayed it in front of me, sort of like to torment me that she was doing a far better job than I ever did. Him displaying up these items made me feel like what I was doing, what I had did for my husband in the past years, amounted to nothing at all. And once he had did this, he would create an argument where we would argue a lot. And then he would physically abuse me. After physically abusing me, he would then leave to go back to this other woman. And in my mind, I could not understand why he was doing this to me. In my mind, I kept on saying, this is the man that I married. This is the man that for 5 years had been telling me that he loved me. And this was what he was doing. So I went to church, trying to cling on to that last hope, trying to cling on to whatever. Because if I did not, I would lose it. And I had thoughts of committing suicide in my head. So my husband leaving left me crippled. So every night at 12 midnight, I would sit, and most of the times I would just sit and cry. I would cry and cry without saying anything, without saying anything at all. One night, after he had just left, after abusing me, I started to question God. I was crying and I questioned him, why are you doing this to me? I've been praying, asking you to bring back my husband home. Why is it that every time he leaves I feel so much hate for him? But as soon as he enters my house again, there is so much love for this man. All the hurt, all the hate, all the pain that I had felt when he had left, it all disappears, and there's just love, total love for this man. I was crying out and questioning God why this was happening to me. I could not understand, and I was really confused about why all of this was happening. I was crying and bawling out and just questioning God on the things that was happening in my life. And all of a sudden I could hear him gently nudge me and tell me, that is the same kind of way that I love you. This really broke my heart, because I could feel the way God had loved me. And he said, every time you leave my house to go and do things on your own, every time you take another path and not take the path that I've set out for you, every time you decide to shut me out, that is the way that I feel. I feel hurt, I feel betrayed. My heart breaks every time you do that. But every time you come back home to me, I loved you more than the last time you came. Every time you came home bruised, hurt, broken, I pick up the pieces after you. I pick up the pieces after you, and I receive you with open arms. Even though you have hurt me, even though you break my heart, I still receive you with so much love. That is the same kind of way that I'm teaching you to love your husband. I cried because I realized that for so long, Jesus had loved me this way. The God that I was serving had loved me this way. So for me, the cross means unconditional love, a love that knows no bound to reach you, a love that gives selflessly, and a love that forgives, and keeps on forgiving. So I pray that as you watch our videos and hear or read our testimonies about our journey to know what the cross means to each of us, I pray that God reveals himself to you in our videos. Whatever the situation that you are in, whatever your past looks like, and you think that you are not worth it, just look at the cross and you'll realize that you are worth it. And Jesus showed how much you mean to him by dying on the cross for you and for me, and know that you are loved. And as we approach Easter, and in the midst of this chaos, when the world is fearing death, I believe that it is a special moment or a special time that God has assigned for us to seek after him, to listen to him, and to soak in his presence. So whatever it is that you're going through, just know that God is in control of your situation. Psalms 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." Continue to trust him as you go through your process, your individual journeys, because he will never forsake you. That's what Psalms 9 verses 10 tells us. So just as he commanded Joshua, I also encourage you, be strong, be courageous, do not be frightened, do not be dismayed, because God is with us. Thank you so much for all your love and support. Thank you for being a source of encouragement to me. And I thank my sisters. I thank you, Sue, Papa, and Dibs, for taking your time out to join me in this platform and to share about your personal experiences of what it means, of what the cross has meant for you, and how it has impacted your life. So until the next video, I plead the blood of Jesus over your lives and your families, and I pray that as you grow, you will abide in his love, you will abide in his protection, and you will abide in his will. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and be blessed.